Welcome back, everyone. We have created points. We have, in my own particular file, a legend. And it is time to, from my perspective, because I understand the extents of what my basic land is, it's time for me to create a layout and then switch my work back and forth between model space and a layout. So I am going to navigate to an architectural D size. And now that I'm in my layout tools, I'm going to create a rectangular viewport. And I'm going to want to use just about as much of this page as I can. So I'm going to kind of maybe not zoom in enough that I don't snap down there, but take up most of the page. And so here's my viewport. And actually, I got lucky. I can see a little bit of the geometry and stuff I created. So I'm going to click in here, zoom, and I know I sort of want my property kind of in this general area. So as I zoom, right, in Civil 3D, this gets ridiculously messy. These are annotative objects. So whenever I change scale, then AutoCAD will recalculate the size of those objects on my layout. However, AutoCAD doesn't necessarily know exactly when I want it to resize everything. So when you're zooming around in Civil 3D, if I use the command regen, it says recalculate all the annotative objects. And I will do that and my points become reasonable. I also know that my legend is way up off the page. So in reality, I'm going to have to move my legend to fit where it needs to go. I want it in the upper right-hand corner here. So I have a scale that's close to standard now. So now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to pick a standard scale. Right, my points didn't move very much. And lock it. So next step is try and get that legend where it belongs. So I'll go into model space, zoom out, select all those points, and use my standard move command and move them down kind of right close in there. So that I know they're somewhere inside my viewport. Come back to architectural D layout, and I can see the points with no text. So I'll worry about that later. So right now, let's create some lines to create this parcel outline. So I'm in an active viewport. My layer is 0. I can either use 0 or I think in another file I created a lines layer, but so 0 is fine because it's not one of these special civil layers. And now I can just use my standard line command. So I'm going to start at the lower left, standard line, and I'm snapping to a node. So even if I hover over the edge of this point, notice I get the center of that point. So I'm just going to progress around here, make sure I get this midway point, come up to the edge, select this box, and well, just so I can keep going, I'll select my circle. Notice I'm out on the edge and I still get snapped to the center of that circle. Out on the edge of the triangle and I get that really short segment. Come down here, get these FIR points, and my last point is over here on the end, and I have all of those lines. Now, if you look in the PDF, you'll see that this isn't a line, it's a curve, so I'm going to need to delete this, and I need to put in a curve. Actually, I'm going to leave that in there, Control Z. Delete it. So I'm going to use an arc command, and this arc command is start end direction. So I believe that I need an additional construction line that shows the exact direction, and I want that arc to be tangent to this boundary line. So for now, I'm going to draw a couple construction lines. I'm going to draw one from here. I'll need that later. And then I'm going to draw another one out here and use extend. I probably didn't even need to, but I'm going to extend this line a couple times so it continues further. Now I can use the arc command, and it is start end direction. Yeah. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to end on this circle, and I need to make sure I get a good snap. Actually, I'll use, I guess, the end point of that line. And then I'm going to use the direction, right? And I come down and snap on this extending property line or boundary line. And when I do that, Civil 3D gives me the exact radius I need. It's a radius that is tangent to the property line and ends at this arc. Turns out I don't need these construction lines, but I do need to trim away some excess distance of this property line. So I'll use trim and get rid of that. And then I need to, let's see, that looks like the arc. I am going to escape out. Yeah, and it looks like my line came all the way back right to this center line there. So I'm happy with what I have. So the last task that we're going, two last tasks. One is we are going to put a line in for this 103rd Street, which is going to be 20 feet, 30 feet offset from this property line. So I'm just going to use the offset command. So offset sitting up here, and my distance is, I key in 30 feet, click my line, and click my side that I want to offset it to. And now I'm going to navigate back to model space and draw a couple construction lines real quick so that I can extend that 103rd Street in both directions. How far it goes isn't too important. My goal is to make sure that it extends a little bit significantly past my viewport. All right, last task in this video is I'm going to join all of these lines into a polyline. I think we're going to see that in a future video, but I will do that real quick here. So it's join, and I'm simply going to join all of the segments into one polyline. And of course, so you're going to have to really zoom in to get this small segment right here. And a couple more segments, and we have a completed polyline. And if I now hover over it, I can see that it is 100% joined together. All right, so at this point, we've got some basic AutoCAD geometry that we can work with to create more Civil 3D objects or create some new Civil 3D objects. Hope this is helpful, and we'll see you in the next section.